Welcome to our channel, Book by Book. So if you're leading a team or maybe just running a big project, you probably know that feeling, that managerial frustration.
Yeah.
You set the strategy, lay out the targets, you have the meetings,
Mm.
but somehow things still seem to go off track in the day-to-day.
Right. Deadlines slip. People seem confused about priorities. Maybe morale takes a dip.
Exactly. And we spend so much time and energy on the big picture stuff, organizational charts, process maps, new software.
Mm.
But often, the things that really trip us up, the things that cost time and, frankly, goodwill, they're smaller. They're about, tone or how clearly we communicate.
Or don't communicate clearly.
Precisely. Miscommunication isn't just inefficient. It can really damage the team culture. And today, we're going to summarize a book that really hones in on this specific thing, language. It argues that the words managers use are maybe the most powerful tool they have.
A leadership lever, essentially.
That's it. The book we're diving into is Vocabulary of a Manager: Powerful Phrases to Manage Your Team Effectively. It's by Charles Holding. Came out in 2022.
Which feels pretty timely, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Think about it. Hybrid teams, fully remote work, people collaborating across time zones.
You lose so much of that face-to-face nuance, body language,
Yeah.
shared office context. It's gone.
And in that environment, vague language. It's just fatal for productivity and trust.
Absolutely.
So this book isn't really about high-level strategy theory. It's much more of a practical guide, like a playbook of actual phrases you can use.
Yeah, it's very hands-on. So if you listening right now have ever had that feedback that your team seems confused, or maybe you've struggled yourself to get your big ideas translated into clear action, then this summary is definitely for you. It's not just about, being nice or polite. It's about using language with real strategic precision.
Okay.
So our goal today isn't just to read you the chapter titles. We really want to unpack the core idea Charles Holding puts forward about language. We'll dig into the 6 key lessons he outlines. Think of them as the pillars for effective manager speak. And then we'll look at the frameworks he suggests for actually using this vocabulary, right away.
So people walk away with actual phrases.
Exactly. Phrases that can replace maybe some weaker communication habits and really help build both trust and performance.
Okay, great. Let's get into that core idea then. Language as a leadership lever. Holding's basic idea is simple, but it kind of goes against how a lot of managers think, doesn't it?
It does. We tend to focus on what we do, the decisions, setting goals, managing budgets.
The actions.
Right. But Holding says, wait a minute, managers actually shape the culture, the trust, the performance level very directly through the language they choose.
So the words themselves are doing the heavy lifting.
In many ways, yes. Your words aren't just carrying information, they're defining concepts for the team.
How so?
Well, your vocabulary sets the standard for what clarity means in your group. It defines what respect looks like, how much autonomy people really have, what teamwork actually entails, even the level of ambition.
Okay, I see. So if my language is vague or inconsistent.
Then all those crucial concepts become shaky for your team. They don't have a solid definition to work from.
That makes sense.
And what's really striking is how quickly a single sentence can affect someone psychologically. Holding gives loads of examples.
Like what?
Well, one phrase might genuinely empower an employee, make them feel seen, motivated, like their contribution matters.
Okay.
But another phrase, maybe poorly chosen in the moment, can just completely deflate someone. It triggers their defenses, they pull back, they disengage.
And we often think management problems are about big strategy mistakes, right?
Yeah, we look for the grand failure. But Holding argues that many failures are actually just the slow buildup of small conversational missteps, things that just linger.
Like what kind of missteps?
Ambiguous deadlines, maybe using blaming language, giving really generic feedback that doesn't help anyone improve.
Right, good job.
Exactly. That stuff demotivates people. It creates friction. And then the manager has to spend way more energy later trying to fix the resulting problems.
So the book aims to make communication less of a habit, maybe less of a liability.
And more of a conscious strength. It provides a specific toolbox of phrases to make language work for you, not against you.
And this links to credibility too, right? Holding talks about managers setting the example with their speech.
He does. He asks, so who dictates the manner of speech in offices? It's often the managers who set that example.
So if a manager throws around words like urgent or critical all day, every day,
Those words lose all their power, and the manager loses the ability to signal what's truly important. The team just tunes it out.
it becomes noise.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural thing that spreads downwards.
Absolutely. If the leadership's language is all about chaos or vagueness or pointing fingers, the team absorbs that. And then
Yeah.
they reflect it back to customers, to other departments, to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to the integrity point. Holding explicitly says, as a manager, it is also necessary that your words translate into actions if you wish to build credibility.
So you can't just say the right things.
No, that's the hypocrisy trap.
Yeah.
A manager might say all the right we things, we're a team, we'll figure this out together.
Sounds good.
But then the second something goes wrong, they pull someone aside and really lay into them privately.
Right. The we language suddenly feels fake, manipulative even.
Exactly. Credibility comes when the chosen words, the vocabulary of partnership, respect, clarity are consistently matched by the manager's actual behavior. That integrity is the foundation for everything else in the book.
That's a really important distinction. Language as performance versus language as genuine integrity. Okay, let's move into the core of the book then, the 6 detailed lessons. We start with lesson 1, which targets the big enemy, ambiguity.
Yes. Lesson 1. Choose clarity over ambiguity.
Holding is really strong on this. He calls ambiguous language kryptonite for managers.
Especially now, right? With remote and hybrid teams.
Definitely. Because when you leave gaps in your communication, people don't just wait for clarification.
No, they fill in the blanks themselves.
And usually they fill them based on what? Their own assumptions, fears.
Often the worst case scenario, or maybe just their own current workload priorities, which might be totally different from yours.
He used the example, handle this when you can, which sounds fine, maybe flexible.
But it's incredibly open to interpretation. Someone lacking confidence might hear, this isn't important, do it last.
Whereas someone really conscientious might hear.
Drop everything, when you can means right now. The potential outcomes are wildly different.
And think about the mental energy wasted, just trying to figure out what when you can actually means.
Exactly. The follow-up questions, the internal debate about priorities, the anxiety of guessing wrong, it's huge. And it totally outweighs the tiny bit of time the manager saved by not just giving a clear deadline.
So the contrast is something like, please get this analysis done by 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Right. Or even better, please complete this impact analysis report by 3 p.m. tomorrow. Focus specifically on the Q3 metrics, and please use the template I've put in the shared drive.
Okay, that's much better. It's a complete package, the what, the when, the how, the where. No guesswork needed.
Zero guesswork. And the outcome is predictable.
What about when this ambiguity infects bigger things like strategic goals? It's bad enough for a single task, but if the annual goal is just improve customer satisfaction.
That's basically managerial negligence, according to Holding. Unless you immediately follow it up with how it will be measured, specific metrics are non-negotiable.
So every request needs that precision.
Every single one. Whether it's a quick email or setting a quarterly objective, the language needs to spell out the desired outcome, the specific deadline, the key metrics for success, and any relevant resources available.
It's not micromanaging then.
No, it's providing the necessary context for someone to succeed autonomously. It's using phrases like, let's aim for specific outcome,
By end of day Tuesday.
measured by specific metric. That clarity builds accountability right into the request itself.
I liked his treasure map analogy for this.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
A vague map saying, find treasure somewhere on the island is useless. You'll wander around guessing.
Wasting time and energy.
But a map that says, start at the big rock, walk 20 paces north, dig 2 feet down.
Now you're channeling all that energy into productive action. You get results.
So clear language is like an efficiency multiplier.
Absolutely. It eliminates doubt, cuts down on frustration, removes all that friction from second guessing. Managers who get this right free up so much mental bandwidth for their teams. People can just focus on doing the work, not decoding the instructions.
Okay, that's a strong foundation. Let's move to lesson 2, which is about shifting the tone. Use collaborative language, we, not you.
Right. This one's about changing the whole feel of the interaction, moving from issuing commands to building a partnership.
And Holding argues that simply switching between you and we can do that.
It's surprisingly powerful when a manager defaults to you, especially when things go wrong or improvements are needed.
You missed the deadline. You need to do this better.
Yeah. It sounds like an accusation. It creates distance. It implies the manager is standing apart, judging the employee's performance.
Whereas we
is an immediate signal of shared responsibility. It says, we're in this together. We share the goal, and importantly, we share the task of finding a solution if we fall short.
that sounds crucial for psychological safety. For people feeling okay admitting mistakes.
Exactly. If people feel blamed, they hide problems. If they feel supported, they're more likely to bring issues forward early when they can still be fixed easily.
Okay, but let me push back a little here. What about genuine individual accountability? Sometimes someone did drop the ball or broke a clear rule. Doesn't always using we blur that responsibility?
That's a really important nuance, and Holding definitely addresses it. He's clear that this we language is primarily for performance management and collaborative problem solving.
Not for, say, disciplinary issues.
Correct. When the goal is to improve how things are done or figure out why a target was missed, we is the right tool. If you're addressing a clear violation of policy or a repeated failure after specific support has been given, then yes, the language needs to center on individual responsibility, you.
Okay.
But even then, the follow-up can pivot back to collaboration, for instance. I need to address the fact that you missed the compliance training deadline again. That's a serious issue. Now, let's explore together what barriers are preventing you from completing this and how we can ensure it gets done by Friday.
So you're still holding the person accountable for the action, but immediately shifting to a shared approach for the solution.
Precisely. You maintain accountability, but frame the path forward as a joint effort.
The book's example in a performance review is quite stark.
It really is.
The weak version. You missed your targets, you need to try harder.
Yeah.
What does that achieve?
Defensiveness. Pure and simple. The employee immediately starts thinking about excuses or justifications, not solutions.
But the stronger we version is something like, okay, so we didn't quite hit the targets we set for last quarter. That tells me we might need to look at our approach. Let's use this time to figure out together how we can adjust things for next quarter.
See the difference? It doesn't absolve anyone, but it frames the shortfall as a systemic issue to be solved collaboratively, not just an individual failing.
It's like that rowing boat analogy he uses.
Yeah, yelling, "You need to row harder," at one person.
Might not fix the problem if the real issue is the boat's design, or the way the team is coordinated, or the course they're taking.
Right. The manager's job is to look at the whole system. We language reflects that broader responsibility. It says, if the boat is slow, let's figure out together why and fix it.
So using we isn't just about being nice, it's strategically building buy-in.
Yes, and aligning the team. It shifts the dynamic away from that old school command and control towards a partnership model, which is what really works with modern, skilled teams.
Okay, that flows nicely into lesson 3. Give purpose-driven context. So we've got clarity on the task, lesson 1, and a collaborative approach, lesson 2. But this lesson says people also need to know why it matters.
Exactly. Without understanding the purpose, even clear collaborative work can feel pointless, like just turning a wrench without knowing what machine you're building.
People need meaning in their work, right?
Fundamentally, Holding argues that tasks feel meaningful when they're framed with a purpose. Otherwise, even good work can feel like just busy work.
So contrast the request. Prepare the monthly sales report.
Okay, standard request. Transactional. Probably done with minimum effort, just to tick the box.
Now add the purpose. Please prepare the monthly sales report by end of day. This is really important because the leadership team uses it to decide on resource allocation for next quarter. Getting it right helps us make the case for the extra funding your projects need.
Ah, okay. Suddenly the person doing that report isn't just crunching numbers.
No, they're directly contributing to securing resources for their own work and their colleagues' work. They're part of a bigger strategic play.
That connection makes a huge difference to engagement.
And this applies everywhere, doesn't it? Not just sales reports.
Absolutely. If you're asking IT to troubleshoot a network issue, the context is. This matters because the downtime is directly impacting our ability to serve customers, and resolving it quickly protects our reputation.
Or asking HR to update a policy.
This matters because a clearer policy reduces confusion for everyone and ensures we're treating people fairly, which builds trust across the organization.
So Holding sees the manager's role here as being a storyteller almost, weaving together the daily tasks with the bigger mission.
That's a great way to put it, a weaver. Connecting the small threads of everyday work to the larger tapestry of what the organization is trying to achieve. If you skip that step, people feel disconnected and engagement drops off a cliff.
The actionable tip seems really simple but powerful. Just preface requests with, "This matters because."
Yes, he insists on it. Just one sentence explaining the why can transform how someone approaches a task. It taps directly into that need for purpose.
It moves it from compliance to commitment.
Precisely. There's that analogy he uses about handing someone a tool.
Right, the screwdriver.
Yeah. Just handing someone a screwdriver is one thing, but handing them a screwdriver and saying, we need this to finish assembling the solar panel that's going to power the remote clinic.
Totally different level of motivation.
You've connected their action to a meaningful outcome that's leveraging intrinsic motivation through language.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, connection to purpose is key. Let's tackle the tricky one now. Lesson 4. Provide growth-centered feedback.
Ah, yes. The conversation many managers dread.
Right. Because done badly, feedback feels like an attack. Holding says it must be framed as a roadmap for development, not just criticism of the past.
And the absolute priority is preserving the employee's dignity while channeling their energy towards future improvement. Getting defensive helps no one.
He offers a specific template for this, doesn't he?
He does, and it's worth memorizing, or at least internalizing the structure. I appreciate specific positive contribution or effort X. My observation is objective description of the issue Y. Let's explore together how we can focus on future action improvement Z.
Okay, walk me through why that sequence works, X, Y, Z.
Okay, starting with specific appreciation, X is crucial. It acknowledges their effort or contribution first, which lowers their defenses. They feel seen, not just criticized.
Well, they're more receptive to the next part.
Exactly. Then comes the observation, why? And it has to be objective and behavioral. Describe what you saw or the outcome, not your judgment about it.
So, not your report was confusing, but rather, I noticed the report had data points from several different quarters on the same page, which made it hard for me to quickly grasp the main trend.
Perfect. Focus on the observable facts, not subjective labels. And finally, the pivot to the future, Z. Let's explore together. This immediately makes it collaborative and forward-looking. It's about building a better future, not dwelling on a past mistake.
Let's try another example. Giving feedback on a presentation. Weak version. That presentation was a mess. You need to fix it.
Ouch. All defense, no learning.
Okay, growth-focused version, using XYZ. Thanks for pulling that presentation together on short notice. I really appreciate you stepping up X. I observed that because there were so many detailed points on each slide, it was a bit difficult to follow the main narrative Y. For the next client pitch, let's work together on structuring it around 3 core messages with more visuals to break it up. How does that sound? Z.
Much better. The focus is entirely on the structure and the outcome, not on the person's competence, and the offer of collaboration makes it supportive.
Does this feel too formulaic, though? Especially with, say, a senior team member you have a strong relationship with.
That's a fair question. You'd adapt the specific words to the relationship, of course. You might be more direct with the senior person. But the underlying structure validates first, state the objective observation, then collaborate on the future. That structure holds true.
So maybe less formal language, but the same steps.
Right. You might say, hey, your strategic thinking here is spot on X, but I noticed the way we communicated it externally didn't quite land Y. Let's brainstorm how we can message it more effectively next time Z. The principle remains. Preserve dignity, focus on behavior outcome, look forward together.
It's like his analogy of steering a car.
Exactly. Good feedback is like gentle, timely steering adjustments to keep the car on the road.
Not slamming on the brakes or yelling at the driver.
Which just causes fear and accidents. The manager's language determines if the employee learns and improves their driving or just becomes anxious and avoids taking risks.
Okay, crucial stuff. Now, lesson 5. Encourage autonomy with clear boundaries. This feels very relevant today.
Extremely. Teams want ownership, they want autonomy, but managers struggle with how to grant it without things descending into chaos.
Because true autonomy isn't just do whatever you want.
Right.
Holding says that actually makes people feel lost.
Right. It's freedom within a defined space. If a manager just says, here's the project, run with it, without defining the edges.
The budget, the deadline, the key requirements.
Exactly. If those aren't clear, the employee is guessing. They feel abandoned, not empowered.
I know.
What happens?
They guess wrong on something important, manager has to jump back in later, and suddenly it feels like micromanagement.
Even though the root cause was the manager's initial lack of clarity, it creates this cycle of frustration.
So the right phrases need to combine both trust and clarity.
Yes. They need to sound something like this. I have total confidence you can own this project's success, Trust. You got the lead on how to approach it. Freedom. Let's just lock down the key boundaries now. We have a budget of $10. It needs to be live by the end of Q4. And the main goal is a 20% increase in user signups clarity boundaries.
So delegation becomes a conversation about defining the playing field.
Precisely. Holding calls it an autonomy handoff. It requires explicitly stating the scope, the budget constraints, the timeline, the key success metrics, and crucially, the rules for escalation.
Escalation rules, like when they should come back to the manager.
Yes, for example, you manage the budget day to day. Only bring me in if we're looking at going more than 10% over, or if you hit a roadblock with another team that you need my help to clear.
Okay, so you're defining the edges of their authority.
Exactly. You're saying, I trust you with this 90% zone of decision-making, escalate the other 10%. That clarity is liberating for the employee. They know exactly where they have freedom and where they need to check back. It protects everyone.
It's like the car analogy again, not just drive anywhere.
Which is paralyzing, but rather, get this car to Chicago by Wednesday goal. You pick the route, the music, when you stop for gas freedom. Just text me if you think you'll be more than 2 hours late. Boundary escalation.
That gives real freedom, but within a clear mission. Modern teams need that combo.
They really do. Guardrails plus ownership.
Okay, brings us to the final pillar, lesson 6. Recognize and reinforce desirable behavior. If feedback steers, recognition accelerates. But Holding says most praise is too vague.
It is. Things like good job, or great work, or thanks for your help. Feel nice for a second.
But they don't actually tell the person what they did well, do they?
Exactly. There's no feedback loop. The person doesn't learn what specific action or behavior the manager valued and wants to see repeated. It's a missed opportunity.
So effective recognition needs to be what?
Specific, timely, and linked to the positive impact it had. It needs to move beyond just feeling good to actually reinforcing the right actions.
He gives a formula for this too, right?
Kind of, yeah. It's basically, I noticed how you did specific action X that really helped the team project client by tangible impact Y.
Okay, let's contrast again. Generic. Great work on that project launch.
Nice, but forgettable and unhelpful for learning.
Specific version. Hey, the detailed risk assessment you proactively put together last week X. That allowed us to anticipate the supplier issue and have a backup plan ready, which kept the whole launch on schedule Y. That foresight made a huge difference, thank you.
See, now the person knows exactly what was valued. Their proactivity, their risk assessment skill, their foresight. They understand why it mattered. It saved the timeline.
So they're much more likely to do that again next time.
Highly likely. And it's not just about that one person.
How so?
Specific praise is a tool for shaping the whole team's culture. When you publicly, or even privately, but specifically, recognize certain behaviors, you're sending a clear signal to everyone. This is what excellence looks like here. This is what gets valued and leads to success on this team.
So generic praise wastes that chance to signal what's important.
Completely. Specific recognition is like raising a bright, clear flag showing everyone exactly which direction the ship should be heading. It actively shapes future behavior across the team.
Wow. Okay, those 6 pillars are really concrete.
Yeah.
But knowing them is one thing. Actually using this language, especially under pressure, is another.
For sure. That's why Holding includes supporting concepts and frameworks to help managers put this vocabulary into practice.
Right. So section 4, supporting concepts and frameworks. What's the first tool he suggests?
It builds directly on what we've discussed. Building your personal managerial phrase bank.
Like literally writing down good phrases.
Yes. The idea is you need to prepare your language before you're in a difficult conversation or a rush.
Because when you're stressed or caught off guard,
your brain defaults to old habits, vague language, maybe defensive language. Having a pre-prepared, strong phrase ready, like that feedback template or a clear way to delegate with boundaries, lets you bypass that reactive mode and communicate effectively.
So you built an arsenal for common situations. Delegation, feedback, handling conflict, giving praise.
Exactly. And you practice them, maybe even role play them so they become second nature.
Okay. And linked to that is the communication audit.
Yes. This isn't just thinking about how you talk. It's a more formal review of your actual communication, especially written stuff like emails and chat messages where tone gets lost easily.
What does the audit involve?
He suggests managers literally go back through their recent sent messages, maybe the last 50 emails or Slack DMs.
And look for what?
Look for those weak crutch words or vague phrases, things like just checking in, circling back, per my last email, ASAP, let me know if you have questions, without specifying when or how. Also, look for missed opportunities for specific praise.
And then you? What? Feel bad about it.
No, the goal is to quantify the potential negative impact. How much time might ASAP have wasted? How much confusion could let me know if you have questions have caused? And then, crucially, you consciously replace those weak phrases with the stronger alternatives from your phrase bank.
So it's about building awareness first, then actively practicing the replacement.
Exactly. You have to see your own patterns before you can change them. If you realize you write ASAP 10 times a day, you understand you're undermining your own ability to set real priorities.
That self-awareness is key. And doing this consistently leads to the role shift model.
Yes. Holding argues that when you consistently use this kind of empowering, clear, collaborative language, your team's perception of your role changes fundamentally.
How does it change?
You move away from being seen just as the boss, the person who gives orders and expects compliance,
Okay.
and you shift towards being seen as the facilitator, the leader who clears roadblocks, provides resources and context, clarifies the strategy, and empowers the team to deliver with ownership.
That sounds like a much more modern and, frankly, more effective way to lead.
It absolutely is. And it's pretty much essential for attracting and keeping talented, motivated people today. They don't want a commander, they want a coach and facilitator.
But language alone isn't everything, right? We touched on this earlier, the tone impact link.
Critically important. You can have the most perfectly crafted phrase from your phrase bank.
They're like a brilliant piece of growth-centered feedback.
But if you deliver it with sarcasm or impatience or an aggressive tone,
It completely backfires. The message is lost.
totally lost. The emotional delivery system overrides the words themselves. The listener reacts to the tone, not the content.
He uses an analogy for this too, doesn't he?
Yeah, the fine gift wrapped in dirty paper. The wrapping ruins the gift.
So managers need that emotional self-regulation too, to make sure their tone matches the collaborative intent of their words.
Essential. Especially in tough conversations, you have to consciously manage your own emotional state to ensure the message lands as intended.
Okay, there's a quote that sums this up. When you believe your messages are heard, you generate engagement. When they are muffled, you invite misalignment.
And muffled can mean vague words or a conflicting tone. The manager needs clear broadcast quality on both channels, words and tone.
Okay, this is all making so much sense. We see why language matters and how these specific types of phrases work. Now, let's get super practical. What can listeners start doing today?
Right, the actionable takeaways, Section V. What you can do today.
Let's start with building that practice habit. You mentioned the phrase library.
Yes, don't try to change everything at once. Pick 10 phrases, maybe a few for clear delegation, a few for better feedback, a few for specific recognition. Write them down, stick them on your monitor, commit to using just those this week. Build the muscle memory.
Okay, achievable, and the communication audit.
Do it this week, seriously. Block 30 minutes. Go through your sent emails or chats. Identify 2-3 common weak phrases you use. Then, actively look for opportunities to use the stronger alternatives you've chosen for your phrase bank. Conscious replacement is key.
And the purpose statements.
Make it mandatory for yourself. Before you assign any significant task, pause and formulate the "this matters because" sentence. Connect the work to a bigger goal. Say it out loud or write it in the request. Every single time.
Okay, what about shifting the dialogue style?
Focus on we over you. Aim for at least once a day, maybe in a one-on-one or team meeting. Catch yourself before you say you need to, and consciously rephrase it as how can we, or let's figure out.
And for delegation.
Plan the autonomy handoff. Next time you delegate, structure it deliberately. Say you have ownership. That immediately define the key guardrails, budget, timeline, scope, escalation points. Make that two-part structure explicit.
And feedback. Stick to the script.
Use the XYZ feedback structure. No constructive feedback without starting with appreciation. X. Follow with the objective observation, Y. End with the collaborative future focus, Z. Practice it until it feels natural. It prevents so many defensive reactions.
And finally, celebrating wins.
Get surgically specific. No more great job. Find the specific action X and link it directly to the positive result Y. Your detailed analysis X helped us avoid that major pitfall Y. Make the connection explicit.
Okay, those are concrete actions. What about embedding this more broadly?
Good point. Start a phrase pause habit. Just before a meeting or before hitting send on an important email, take 5 seconds. Ask, what tone do I want? Which specific phrase will create clarity and partnership here? That pause makes a huge difference.
And reflecting afterwards.
Weekly reflection is crucial. 15 minutes Friday afternoon. Ask yourself, which conversation went sideways this week because of my language? What specific phrase could I have used instead? Learn from the missteps.
Yeah, and the ultimate step.
Train your team. Share some of these ideas. Maybe introduce the feedback template or the importance of purpose statements. Encourage them to use clearer, more collaborative language with you and each other. That's how you genuinely shift the team's communication culture.
That makes total sense. It becomes a shared standard.
Exactly.
So wrapping up, vocabulary of a manager really drives home that language isn't just a soft skill.
Not at all. It's arguably the most direct and powerful lever a manager has to influence performance, trust, and culture.
Choosing your words deliberately, how you assign tasks, give feedback, recognize effort, delegate authority, it changes you from just being a boss to being a leader who connects.
Connects, empowers, and aligns people towards a clear, shared goal. That quote really sums it up. Language isn't just filling air, it's building culture.
Okay, let's do a quick, punchy recap of the top 5 takeaways from Holding's book.
Let's do it.
1. Clarity wins. Be specific. Deadlines, metrics, outcomes. Ambiguity breeds confusion and kills trust.
2. Use we, not you. Build partnership and shared responsibility, especially when problem solving.
3. Start with purpose. Always explain the why behind the task to drive engagement and commitment.
4. Feedback is for growth. Use the appreciation, observation, explore structure, XYZ, to keep it constructive and forward-looking.
And 5. Recognize specifically. Link the exact behavior to its positive impact. Tell people precisely what worked and why it mattered.
Nail on the head. If you listening feel ready to upgrade not just what you manage, but how you communicate while doing it, this book is a really valuable resource.
Your language truly becomes your leadership.
Use it wisely.
We really hope this summary of vocabulary of a manager has been helpful for you. If you found this discussion valuable, please do take a moment to subscribe to our channel for more such helpful book summaries. Also, please share it with others, colleagues, friends, anyone you think might benefit. And finally, like this video. Your support truly does motivate us to keep finding and summarizing the best books out there for you. Thanks so much for listening.